2025 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before I ask for the approval of the agenda, we have Creighton Schmidt, who is with us telephonically, and Mark Ebling is in absentia. Motion to approve the agenda, please. Gentlemen?
So moved.
Stop. Gentlemen, please. Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now we need approval of the consent agenda, including the following. A, approval of City Council meeting minutes of April 7th, 2025. That's the special meeting, and the regular meeting of April 11th, 2025, and that's also a special meeting. Need approval of the bills and claims, of which you have a copy. Following approval of application to the city's downtown retail business incubator program for Lily Mae Chocolates, 423 Main Avenue. We need approval. D, approval of pay estimate number 12 in the amount of $197,052.45 to Dean Snyder Construction for the Music Enrichment Center project. And we have the following licenses and permits: liquor license, Class C, retail alcohol license, Lakeside Landing, Class C, retail alcohol license, the Surfside Special, Class C, retail alcohol license, Oak Hills Par 30. Those are all renewals. And we have a street closing request for May 3rd on the Shake, Rattle, and Stroll 5K race. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries 4-0. Now is the time and place for any citizen in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or item that is not, repeat, not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter the minutes. It's not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, but it is an opportunity for you to speak. Please approach the podium. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Jim Kavars, and I live at 2 North 4th Street, Apartment 2. And I would like to address the council on a problem we have downtown with the noise coming out of TAP, the bar downtown. I've talked to the police department on, I think, 4 different occasions, as has my neighbor. And they informed us that there's nothing they can really do due to a lack of an ordinance regarding the noise. The noise gets fairly loud Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and the police have told me there's nothing they can really do. As we all know, the later in the night that it gets, the more that the alcohol flows, and the more the alcohol flows, the louder the noise gets. So I'm just wondering if we can't cut back on the noise instead of it going on till 1:30 in the morning, maybe cutting it off. Let's have a compromise midnight, to say the least, because when the people consume a little more alcohol, they get a little more stupid, and the more stupid they get, the more profane they get. Now, I know no one in this room other than myself live downtown, so I, along with my neighbors, put up with that. I mean, if there's any suggestions, I'm all for it. I mean, the police officer went and talked to Al Hana, who owns Tapped. Now, I don't know what came of that, but I was informed that they also have a speaker outside of the bar. Now, we all in this room know upcoming we're going to have more and more people in the town. So there's going to be more and more people consuming more and more alcohol in that facility. And the more alcohol that's consumed, the more money the bar makes. So therefore you have the catch-22 problem at the bar. So if anybody's got any solutions, I'm all for it, because as of right now, it's not getting any better. So if we could come up with something, I'm here to listen.
We thank you for your presentation tonight. Council will take that under advisement.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Lori Hackbarth. I live at 712 10th Avenue North, down by the football field. And it was almost 3 years ago when they did the project for the old roller rink. They were doing water and sewer lines down there or something. But my yard got ripped up. They took a tree out, which I'm sure they had to, but nobody informed me of that. And then I've called like 4 or 5 times. Nothing's ever been done with it. It's just ripped up yet. It's just rocks and it looks terrible. And I called the city a couple, 3, 4 times. And some guy came down and took some pictures and said he was going to see. He came down, it was like 2 days before homecoming weekend, was that weekend. Because I was concerned about the lip. They had to take part of the sidewalk out, which they got put back in, but there was no fill brought in, so the lip on it is like 4 or 5 inches. So, and the city guy said they'd have somebody come down and put fill in there before the weekend, but that didn't happen. And I'm beyond myself as to what to do about it. I've had lots of projects go by, on my street where they worked through my yard, and it's never been left like that, never. And so I don't know who the contractors were, and my neighbor's the same way. It's our 2 yards that got ripped up, but yeah, it's just, I don't know what else to do, so thought I'd come here and tell you guys. But that's all.
We will look into that. Thank you for being here this evening. Anyone else in the audience? Thank you. That is, entertain a motion to close the citizens' opportunity to speak.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana. We close the citizens' opportunity. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, same. Motion carries. We move to number 5, unfinished business, ordinance amending zoning dimensional requirements. Entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 890 on the third and final reading. This is an ordinance amending 2 official zoning dimensional requirements within high-density, single-family residential zone, that's RS12, of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa, by repealing ordinance number 165.124A and C. Motion, please. This is the third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Beth Ann, that we approve ordinance number 890 on the third and final reading. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Creighton?
Yes.
Beth Ann?
Yes.
Bennett?
No.
And Dana?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1. And ordinance number 890 is duly adopted on this final reading. Move to 6, new business, 6A, fiscal year 25 amended and fiscal year 26 proposed municipal budget. Introduction and review of budget proposal by Jacob Widman, acting city administrator. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight we have our final budget presentation on this year's budget. It's been a long process. I appreciate all the input that Council has had throughout the process, the department heads, just getting it to this point in time where we're ready to hold the hearing on it and finally approve the FY25 amended and the FY26 proposed budget. So I have some slides that I'll kind of walk through and give you guys an overview of the budget. Some of it's stuff you've seen before, maybe some of it's just a refresh since we've been at this since January. So to recap the expenditures, the total budget Citywide is 20,484,000. That is a significant drop from the fiscal year 25 budget because of the Surf District project numbers coming down. Operating budget is 12.7 of that total budget, or roughly 63%. Capital budget is 6.3 million, which is around another 30%. And then the final percentage of that $20 million budget is debt service, which will be about 1.4 million for the period. Major capital projects that we have planned in the budget, and then also some that we added to the FY25 amended budget. So Highland Drive area, we're going to do a utility project down there, and then once we have the utility portion done, which is water and storm sewer, then we'll go back with an overlay of that area. Cemetery calabarium, our calabarium's full out at the cemetery, so we are purchasing 2 new ones out there, and we're splitting that over the FY25 and the 26 budget. Housing development assistance, we had quite a bit of that in the 25 budget, and some of that's carrying over into the 26 budget here. Pool heater replacement, we've had some issues the last few years with the pool heater. Jim tells me that he thinks he has it fixed. We'll see how this summer goes, but if we have issues again this summer, then we have money in there to replace it over the winter season. Front end loader, we replaced one last year in the 25 budget. We have another one scheduled here in the 26 budget to be replaced. We'll be adding one more skid loader to the fleet. ORC playground equipment, that was on last week's agenda to get that added. And then 4th Avenue Raise Grant project, that's just for the engineering on that one. The actual construction on that will likely be dependent on if we get federal funding on it, but in FY26, we should be able to finish up the preliminary engineering on that to get some concepts, and then we'll go out for funding and see if we can get some funding on to actually do the project. And then Surf District projects, there's some money in there to finish those up and should hopefully be in good shape after 26, but we've put a lot of money in down there, and there may be some that come up in 27 as well. Looking specifically at the general fund then, this is our main operating fund of the city. So we're projecting revenues of $10,887,000, anticipated expenditures of $10,987,000, with a projected ending cash balance of $7 million. That is approximately 64% of our general fund operating budget, which is a very, very strong general fund balance. I think for the end of fiscal year 25, we had projected like 6.2 million. So it's in our last budget season. So it's nice to see that number remaining strong. Shows that we're doing well with our budget and holding to our budget. Next slide then. So as far as the property tax rate goes, we are proposing to keep it at 985 for fiscal year 25. That 985 was the 4th lowest city tax rate of cities 4,000 above in the state of Iowa. You can see the other cities there that were below Clear Lake, Eldridge, Evansdale, Asbury, and then Clear Lake right there in 4th. Highest rates, 25, so much, much higher than Clear Lake here, was in Keokuk. The consolidated tax rate then, so this is what you pay in total property taxes, the rate. So this combines the city, the sanitary district, the county, the school, all the taxing entities. So for populations over 4,000 in the state of Iowa, we had the fifth lowest consolidated tax rate in fiscal year 25. That was an increase of 1 spot over fiscal year 24. We had been the 6th lowest, so now we're the 5th lowest. So our levy rate, 28.53. The lowest is in Spirit Lake, Eldridge, the Mars, which is where I came from, is still ahead of us, but we're getting closer. Carroll is 27.74, and then us here in Clear Lake at 28. And then highest rate, not surprising there, Keokuk, with having the highest city rate as well. The tax bill components then, this is the various taxing entities that make up your tax bill. The largest is Clear Lake Schools, or the school districts here in town. The city has 34.5%, county is 20%, sanitary district is roughly 5%, and then Nyack and the state are roughly 4%. Property tax valuations then here in town. Our taxable valuations for fiscal year 26 were just shy of $900 billion. That was an increase of 2.53% over fiscal year 25. That adjustment had to do some with the rollbacks. The rollback for fiscal year 26 went to 47.43 from 46.34. And for fiscal year 26, the total assessed amount was at 1.7 billion there. By class then, so being here in Clear Lake with lots of properties on the lake that are valued pretty high, we have a large amount of residential valuation. So 74%, that is an uptick a little bit from before. I think it was like 72% before. And then 21% is commercial, industrial, and then a little percentage for utilities and railroad. Something I just wanted to call out here, when the state had changed the rollback on commercial and industrial property, they had gone from 100% down to 90%. They backfilled that with state funds. Well, in fiscal year 23, they started phasing those out. So fiscal year 26, which is the budget that we're working on here, is the last year that we'll receive those backfill payments from the state. And then it'll go to zero starting in fiscal year 27. And just over that period of time, we've lost out over $130,000 just from the phasing out of that and the state no longer backfilling that. And there's a lot of talk of property tax reform in the state legislature right now. And so just a visual to show you how some of the things they do down there affect us here locally in the city. So as I mentioned earlier, proposed tax rate of $985. This here kind of gives you a visual of what your city taxes would be. So just over $900 we're looking at for city taxes if you had a valuation of $200,000 last year. And I took and I phased it out based on the valuation growth here in town. I took the average valuation, factored in all the rollbacks, so that you could kind of see, okay, in fiscal year 25, if your valuation was $200,000, this is kind of what your tax bill on the city side has looked like over the last 4 years, using those averages. So it's a pretty steady, I will say, this year, just a $31 increase for that $200,000 valuation point. Hotel motel then, this is kind of the growth that we've seen since COVID. As you can see, it jumped quite a bit. We've had some really nice growth, especially starting there in fiscal year 23 and then going into 24 as well. So 783 to up to 816. I will say for fiscal year 24-25, you'll see that I only budgeted 750 there. We used to receive our allocations quarterly, and now we're receiving them monthly. And based on those monthlies that we've received, it's showing kind of a downward trend based on what we've received in the past. So I don't know if it's just maybe a timing thing with the monthlies, but I wanted to be somewhat conservative with the budget, and so that's why I put 750 in there, and then 800 for this fiscal year 26 coming up. And then the final thing here that I wanted to go over was our debt capacity. As I'm sure you've heard over the years, we have a very small debt ratio here in the city. We can borrow up to that 850 million, like a really high amount. We're projecting at the end of 26 that we'll only have 7.4 million of outstanding debt, or 8.7%. So still under 10% debt outstanding. Just goes to show a very strong fiscal position that the city's in. And that's kind of the overview that I have of the budget. So just, like I said, just thank you, everybody, for the help with putting the budget together. And it's been a long process here, but it's fun to be at the end of it. So.
Jacob, the amount of work that you have done, and I think this whole council, keep in mind, we started looking at this in the middle of December, and we get to tonight here. with
Yep.
it. You know, lots and lots of work. And with regard to the assessment, sometimes we need to be reminded of this, but our assessment is not done just with the city of Clear Lake. We are out of the county office, and it's done by Sarasota County assessor.
That is
As
correct.
compared to Mason City that has their own individual
Yep.
assessor for that city. So we are involved in that, and that our land, our businesses, and our homes are all assessed through the county assessor's office.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's an important point. I mean, as a city, we can't control the assessments. That's the county that does that. We can control our budget and what we ask for, but those assessments are they're out of our control.
And the amount that we have, our amount that we, the 85 million, and what did you say, we're at 7 million something?
Yeah,
And
yep.
that's pretty phenomenal too.
It
For a
is.
community of our size across the state.
Yeah, I mean, to be operating at less than 50% is phenomenal. So to be at less than 10% is just crazy.
Right. Any other questions? And thank you for all of this work and your explanation. I especially thought today when I got this, or Thursday when I got this, well done in reading that, what
Thanks.
this is going to be tonight. So,
Mhm.
good job.
Yeah, I'd also like to say that as well, Jacob. Thank you so much for your work doing this. Again, I think it's impressive. You've got Lamar's on there and Clear Lake in the same neighborhood, so you must be good luck.
I'm
But
attracted to cities that are fiscally responsible, we'll put it
There
that
you
way.
go.
And
Well,
I
you
like to
carry
do
on
my
that
part. I
tradition,
like to do
so-
my part.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I say. We appreciate that. And I think one quick comment I would make is when it comes to our debt, as the mayor said, we're only at 8.7%. But the weighted average cost of that capital that we borrowed, if I remember correctly, is very low.
Yeah.
Because
it
some of
is.
that debt we borrowed when rates were much lower.
Yeah, I think some of the rates, I think, are less than 1%. And I know we've partnered with Clear Lake Bank and Trust before on some of that debt, and I thank them for their partnership over the years, and I'm thankful we got some of that locked in when rates were super low. And so, yeah, it's pretty crazy to have rates under 1%.
Yeah, no, that's a great point as well, and I do want to thank Clear Lake Bank and Trust. I appreciate their partnership on many of these projects, and I just highlight that because even though, you know, we've used a little bit of debt here on certain projects, they have what I would consider really high returns on invested capital. We borrowed at very low rates. We have great partners, and so again, I just think it's a very prudent use of taxpayer money, and so I appreciate all the work, as you said, our department heads and staff have done with that. So, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Jacob.
Mhm.
I love your comparison with the ice cream from Lamar's to our tourist activities. How
It's a
sweet
good
it is.
combination.
Exactly.
Any other comments? Thank you, Jacob.
Yep.
Now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to the fiscal year 25 amended budget and the fiscal year 26 proposed budget. If anyone in the audience wishes to speak to that, please approach the podium. Once again, state your name first and last and give your address so the clerk can properly enter the minutes. None appearing, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on fiscal year 25, fiscal year 26 amended and proposed budget, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Beth Ann, that we close the public hearing with regard to fiscal 25, amended fiscal year 26 proposed. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. In here, Creighton 3-0. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2513, a resolution adopting the fiscal year 25 amended and fiscal year 26 proposed budget. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana, that we approve Resolution 2513. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Creighton? I think he's left us, isn't he? He dropped off. All right. Beth Ann?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
And Dana?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Resolution 2513 is duly adopted. 6B, purchase of 2025 Chevy Traverse for City Administration Department.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So now that we've wrapped up the budget, first budget item for upcoming fiscal year is the purchase of a new car here for the administrative side of City Hall. It also gets used by many of the departments when they go travel for training and stuff. But right now we have a 2015 Chevy Impala that we're using. It's getting some miles on it. It doesn't have some of the same safety features that some of the new vehicles have on it. I know the Iowa legislature just passed the hands-free law. The Impala doesn't have the abilities to do that. So we just really felt, based on safety, based on the use that it gets, that it was time to upgrade that vehicle. So we're looking at getting a 2025 Chevy Traverse. I was talking with Rod, our mechanic, kind of looking at when we should do quotes on it. And so he reached out to the dealerships, and if we got quotes on it here and got it ordered before the end of April, then we didn't have to go to the new year model. And it would be at least a $4,000 to $5,000 savings. So that's why we have it on tonight's docket, to try to go ahead and get that through so that we can realize those savings as opposed to pushing it off a little bit longer here. So we took bids from 2 different places. Pritchard's Auto out of Clear Lake here provided a bid with a total cost of $38,712. And then Carl Chevrolet out of Ankeny provided a bid of $38,932.40. I did, in your packet there, I gave just some of the basic bid totals. Pritchard's given us a real nice discount on it, and I would recommend going with them and their bid. It's a 1-for-1, both Carl and Pritchard. It's the exact same vehicle that they were quoting out here, and yeah, I think it'll be a really nice addition, and it'll be good for safety for us here in City Hall. So, and I will say on the budget side, based on looking at numbers and state bid prices and stuff, we had budgeted $48,000 for it. So to get it for $38,000, it's already start off the budget on the right track. And even though we'll be ordering it now, it won't be delivered until after July 1st, and we'll be paying for it after July 1st. So it'll be in that 26 budget. So, any questions on it?
So that our total amount here is $38,712?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, Council? Entertain a motion to approve purchase of 2025 Chevy Traverse from Pritchard Auto Clear Lake in the amount of $38,712. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Bennett, that we approve the purchase. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries 3-0. 6C, North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum, funding agreement. Review a request. Jacob Widman, once again, welcome, Jacob.
Thank you. You get a lot of me tonight. So next on the docket here is the North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum funding agreement. So as part of the Destination Iowa grant that we received for the projects down in the Surf District, we entered into a strategic partnership with the 501c3 North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum. They will be operating the new Music and Experience Center for us in the upcoming summer here. Probably we're looking at late July opening probably on it. So operation of the MEC will include such amenities to the community as the immersive experience that we're doing. They offer music lessons and then just a community gathering space in the upper part of it there. So to aid in the operation of the MEC and the promotion of the cultural experiences within the community, we're proposing to enter into a funding agreement with them. Under the funding agreement, we'll allocate 7.25% of the hotel motel taxes that we receive as a city here to the NICM for the said services in the agreement. It'll be for a period of 10 years, and then as part of the agreement, the city will get a voting member on their board. So that's just kind of the rough overview of it. I'll actually go through just a couple sections of the agreement here and just kind of walk through some of those terms. So under item number 1 of the agreement, these are the white sheets in your paper. The term of the agreement, as I mentioned, is 10 years starting on July 1st of 2025, so this upcoming July 1st, and then running through June 30th of 2035. And that will be for the receipts that we receive for that fiscal year. So the first receipts that are received in July, we probably as a city won't receive them till August. So the first payment will probably be made in August or September to them. As I mentioned, this is so they can provide operations of the MEC and then also provide cultural experiences for people coming to our community here and just promoting that citywide. As I mentioned, the annual fee will be payable monthly as we receive those hotel motel receipts. The 7.25 allocation, I will say on that, this allocation, when we had back a number of years ago, we had gone from 5% to a 7% hotel motel tax allocation. And at that time, we had allocated 7.25% of the total. It's a higher percentage of that, 2%, to cultural things. And so originally we had actually given it to this group to help them promote the music enrichment center and then also the stuff that they do at the surf. When we had gone through the stuff with the golf course, we had reallocated it over to the golf course and working on payments on that and stuff. So kind of now that that is finished up and we're getting the music experience center, we're just looking at allocating that percentage back to them again. So it's not that this is a brand new thing, it's just getting it formalized and getting it back in their hands where it was when we originally passed it back in the day. Under section number 9 of the agreement, that's where it gives the city the 1 voting member on the board. And then under section number 10, they do have to give us financial reports and stuff as a city so that we can make sure that they're handling the funds properly. And that'll be on an annual basis where they provide that to us. So I'll just say I think it's a really good agreement. I think it's a good partnership that we've had with them, just working with them on getting through all the construction stuff of the MEC, and just really pleased to work with that board and with Brian as their CEO. And I know some of the board members are here tonight, and Brian, their CEO, is also here, so I'm going to let him come up and just say a couple words, unless there's any questions for me before that.
Any questions for Jacob? Thank you, Jacob. Welcome, Brian.
Good evening. Brian Llewellyn, CEO of the Surf Ballroom and soon to be the new Music Experience Center, 400 North Shore. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight and just express our deep gratitude to the City of Clear Lake for its continued leadership and partnership in making world-class tourism a reality for Northern Iowa. This agreement will ensure that the transformative Music Experience Center will remain a vibrant, welcoming, and educational resource for residents and visitors alike. Ultimately, it's also an investment in our community's identity and future. We are known worldwide as offering incredible music experiences and our connection to music history. By allocating a modest portion of hotel motel tax revenues, the city ensures that the benefits of that tourism are reinvested directly into the cultural assets that make Clear Lake such a unique and sought-after destination. And the inclusion of the city-appointed member only ensures and strengthens our accountability, transparency, and our shared government. It ultimately formalizes a collaborative approach that has been reflected throughout this entire process that we are deeply proud to have been a part of. We thank you for your partnership. We believe that this commitment empowers the Surf Ballroom and its new Music Experience Center to offer year-round programming, including immersive exhibits, music education, and gathering spaces that serve all residents and all ages while expanding tourism, hospitality, and economic activity for the city and the region. We're very proud to have this before you, and we appreciate your consideration. Thank you all.
Thank you. Any comments, council? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the funding agreement with the North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Bennett, that we approve the funding agreement with the North Iowa Cultural Center and Museum. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Surf Nickum Group. I have to get that right. Appreciate your being here this evening. 6D, Panther Builders Workforce Housing Tax Credit Application, intro review request. Jacob Widman, again, welcome, Jacob, you're a popular guy.
That's right. Thank you again, Mayor and Council. So item 6D here, going over the Panther Builders Workforce Housing Tax Credit Application, just a resolution of support for them putting that in. These are in it'll be in your green sheets in your packet. So Panther Builders LLC out of Cedar Falls, Iowa, is in the process of submitting an application for workforce housing tax credits for the potential of a project on the south side of Clear Lake's downtown district. Panther Builders, if you remember, most recently completed the 2 fourplexes out there on 15th Street by Everybody Plays Playground. Their currently proposed project is for the development of 1 4-plex and 1 5-plex for a total of 9 residential units. The proposed project is currently vacant lots, and the estimated value of the combined units once completed is $3.15 million. Back in 2019, the city had created an urban revitalization area where these lots are located in anticipation of some projects like this coming along. Under that plan, residential properties are eligible for an 80% partial tax abatement for a period of 5 years. The partial tax exemption would be the city's support for the project, and receiving the workforce housing tax credits is really key to this project moving forward. So I just really encourage you guys to be in support of this. It's kind of building off of everything that we've had in place for a number of years now, hoping for that lot to be redeveloped. I know there used to be some buildings on the lot. They were tore down several years ago, and the lots have just been sitting vacant there. So I think it'd be really nice to see this project come to the south side of downtown here. And in your packet there, on the back side of the first sheet, it does give a visual of what the proposed units would look like, and I think it would be a really nice fit for downtown here. So is there any questions on any of that?
Yes, Jacob, one quick one. Have they provided you with any kind of a sense of the timeline that they would be looking at and wanting to build?
Yeah, so the workforce housing tax credits, they announced those kind of in the late fall. I think it's September sometime. And so they indicated that if they receive the tax credits, then they would start on the project shortly after that, hopefully here late fall. If they don't receive it, then they'll probably hold off, so.
Okay, so the opportunity in some sense depends upon
Correct.
those. But again, I appreciate you putting this on the agenda. I think it's an interesting opportunity. We'll have to see where it goes.
Yep.
But I know we've worked hard to create a housing pipeline and different
Mhm.
types of housing. So it's kind of exciting to see
Yeah, it
that
is.
people want to build here in Clear Lake, frankly.
Yep, it's great to see people wanting to build here in Clear Lake that have a good product. And I think this will be a really good product for downtown here that is market rate housing. And I think they're looking at somewhere in a target range of 350, maybe 400 for these units. So I know it's still expensive, but it's affordable for some people. So it's exciting to see projects here in town. And like you said, we have a pipeline of good projects, and this would just be another one to add to that.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Jacob.
Yep.
I too think this is could be a good project. I think we have to go with caution to the wind here as well, because it's changed now, some of the hierarchy of, what are they called, Panther Builders, I assume that's related to you and I, but they started, I believe, down there with a different group, perhaps, maybe one or two different changes.
I think when they had started the ones over in the Everybody Plays, it was a different group. I mean, it was some of the same people, but some different people as well.
Right,
So.
and then, we waited and we waited and we waited some more to get these up, and I think we're still waiting to get, or they are, those sold. There might be one.
I believe there's
two.
one of those
Yeah.
that's still available.
It's been a long time. We've put in a nice playground across the street and all that, and so I do think we need to look at this, including the engineering part of it, as well.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work that we need to be done on it. We'd have to review the site plan, make sure it meets all of our code of ordinances and everything. This is just really a preliminary, just saying, yeah, we support you trying to do a project here in our community. And as of right now, we don't have any other projects in the pipeline for workforce housing tax credits for this year. So I think this would be a really good project to send into the state to show them that we're continuing to work on housing here in Clear Lake.
And for those, with regard to the location of this, it's at the corner of Third Street South and First Avenue South.
South, yep.
Right there, and
Yep.
I believe Mr. Bush from Mason City owned that storage building at one time, and there were a couple others in there too that bought that. One time it held, I sound like Mike Callahan here, like bakery trucks, but this I do think would be of just great to have it downtown.
For sure.
It really would be.
Yep,
It's definitely within walking distance, which is a really nice feature.
Right.
for sure.
All right, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2414, a resolution supporting the submission of an Iowa Economic Development Authority, IEDA application. Am I on the wrong one? No. Application to the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program by Panther Builders. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we approve Resolution 2514. Is there a discussion? Roll call. Beth Ann?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Resolution 2514 is duly adopted. E, Iowa Thriving Communities application. Once again, Mr. Whitman.
Okay. This final item here on the action items for today, I think flows really well with that last item that we have. So the Iowa Thriving Communities designation, in 2024, the Iowa Finance Authority, along with the Iowa Economic Development Authority, created the Iowa Thriving Community designation. This designation is given to communities that go above and beyond, leveraging innovative methods to attract housing opportunities. The designation helps to show a community it is progressive and focused on meeting housing needs. Receiving the designation allows a community to score additional points on several state and federal programs, including the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program that Panther Builders is applying for here. This program has been utilized in the past. The most recent one was the BAM, Emerald Cove development. They received it here this last year. And so over the last several months, city staff has been working with various community groups to start on the application. And the application deadline is due on May 12th. Getting the designation will continue to show Clear Lake's leadership in creating a strategic housing pipeline that is focused on market rate workforce housing opportunities. And I just based on that one that we just approved here, I think it'd be really smart as a community to go for this designation. We get additional points for the workforce housing tax credit program. The state has encouraged us as a community to go for this designation, and I think it would be a really positive thing for our community. So I would encourage your support of the resolution for us to get going and get this application in by May 12th here. So. Any questions?
Questions, council?
Jacob, I have a couple questions. It says there a week of July 7 in-person finalist pitches.
Yeah, so communities that are chosen as a finalist have to go down and give pitches to the state on that July 7th.
Okay. I'm just looking at that time frame.
Yeah, so that would be city administration. We'd probably look at a developer that's done a housing project here in town. And then maybe some other people from within the community to go down and give that presentation. And we'd also have maybe mayor and a couple council members go as well. So.
Great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really good timing, Jacob, with these on the agenda. I know next
Yeah.
week, I believe, or is it this week, the housing conference here in north central Iowa that IEDA will be at. And
Yep.
again, it just demonstrate, I think, Clear Lake's leadership in North Iowa regarding pursuing really good, as you pointed out, market rate, workforce housing, you know,
Mhm.
that pipeline. So thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any other comments, questions, council? Thank you, Jacob, therefore, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2515, a resolution authorizing submission of an application for the Iowa Thriving Communities designation to the Iowa Economic Development Authority and the Iowa Finance Authority, and authorizing execution of related documents if approved. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Dana, that we approve Resolution 2515. Is there any discussion? Roll call, Bennett,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
and Beth Ann.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0, and Resolution 2515 is duly adopted. Chief Colby, welcome.
Evening, Mayor, evening, Council. Two things to go over with you real quick. We just received word last Thursday that our grant we applied for the Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau was approved. We were awarded about $14,000 for the next federal fiscal year, so that starts on October 1st as opposed to ours, July 1st. That'll break down about $6,000 for general traffic enforcement, which covers any type of moving violation there, and then we have about $6,000 for specifically for impaired driving enforcement, and generally that money is spent between 7 at night, overnight hours there. And then we also received $2,000 in our grant there for a replacement of our aging radar units. They cost about $2,600. That covers almost the full amount of that cost of that unit. That price at 26 was from 2 years ago, so maybe a little bit increase there too. But the $2,000 is a big chunk of change for that. So we'll put that money, now that we have that, into the amendment for our fiscal year 26 amendment to cover that radar, and we build out some squad cars and replace that equipment there. But that'll be pretty negligent on our budget there. The other thing I have for you is I believe Jennifer emailed out the 2024 annual report that we sent out to the city, which we're required to do, or I'm required to do every year, to the mayor about the police department activities. It's several pages there, but I'll just kind of, unless there's questions, I'm going to draw your attention to page 8 if you guys have a minute to look at it when you get time at home, or if you haven't already. But page 8 is a lot of our statistics, and if you look at those graphs there, you can see we're trending up in all 6 categories that we track there throughout the year. Our total of all categories of our activity that we did in 23 was 19,397 calls for service, cases pulled, traffic stops, everything. And then last year in 24, we went up to 21,244. So that's about 1,000, or a little over 1,000 increase there on our activities. Some other highlighted areas that we added this year's report is our radio transmission. So we track through our ISIC system with the state. Every time a fire department or a police officer or the dispatch keys the radio up, and has the communication there from either the field unit to the dispatch or vice versa. And we did well over 100,000 different communications back through there. So on the PD side, we did 99,753, and the FD did 22,078 communications there, and all those run through dispatch. So you're looking at 120,000 transactions there going through our dispatch center that they handle for just those 6 full-time and 1 part-time dispatchers throughout the year too. So we're keeping pretty busy. Those are the big things I want to highlight for you. If there are any questions in there, please let me know. If not, I'll be back here in 2 weeks and we can discuss it some more if you have some questions that pop up.
Mike, I don't have any questions, but thank you for putting all that together. It's great to see because as citizens and council members, we don't get to know what all goes on at the PD, fire station, and all the other departments. And so to see all the graphs and statistics and to see the increase in all the traffic is just nice to know that you've got our back. Thank you.
We try. It's not just me. There's the
Takes a
officers,
team.
men and women, and the team, and the fire department, and the dispatch center out there doing it 24/7, 365. So whether you're down in Florida on vacation or whether you're sleeping in your bed at night, there's always people out there on the street answering the call and out putting work in.
It's good to know.
Appreciate the support.
Thank you.
Really, really key in this bad weather that we've had recently, you know, the middle of the night, a little frightening, but how are we with dispatchers? Are we still short one, or?
So we have enough to staff 24/7, 365. We are down one position, so we talked maybe a month or so ago that Charlene had resigned. She went back down to Galveston, Texas, to be a little closer to the Gulf. And so we are in the final processes of going through filling that position, and hope to have a name for you by the next council meeting.
That voice that when you call a dispatcher, you know, that's key position, and especially during storms and things that aren't very good. And well, every time that I've called them to ask a question because of someone calling me, and you know, I referred them on, they've always been very, very polite in a tough situation. You know.
If you recall some of our previous conversations, we've got some things planned for fiscal year 26 coming up July 1st to give them some additional resources, additional training, and to have everybody in there be emergency medical dispatch certified. So you call in for a medical event, they'll have pre-arrival instructions. They can walk through the callers through there that are vetted through medical control to how to tell somebody how to stop a bleed, how to tell somebody to give CPR, or how to do the Heimlich or something, so we can give pre-arrival care before the ambulance and the fire truck and the police officers are there to, you know, seconds matter for those emergency responses. And so our goal there is to elevate the amount of care they can give and the expertise they have to a federal or national standard, and to bring that online. And I think we'll be the first agency, we'll probably be one of the only agencies with our size that offers that level of care through the 911 center there.
Yeah. Council of Summer, you haven't been through the police department lately. You know, I would encourage you to do that. You know, great folks we have working for us there. And what's astounding is to open that one door and see all that electronic equipment and think, you know, my gosh, you know, that's what's happened in the last few years. Now you have to have a room full of, you know, wires upon wires upon wires. And
They're experts in there, not I, but they are.
I know, but it's mind-boggling what you have to have, you know, to connect throughout, basically throughout the country anymore. So, yeah, thanks. Appreciate what you do and what your department does.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Public Works, Jeremy. Jeremy Kornberg, Director.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple updates. So this week is our large item drop-off event. We actually start tomorrow with the small portion of pickup stuff that we do. Anybody that called in and bought a sticker or whatnot and got on the list, we will pick up those appliances and TVs tomorrow. Just a few review of the schedule and a few reminders of the program. Like I said, the pickup starts tomorrow, and then the drop-off portion starts Thursday morning. It'll run from 8 to 7 p.m. At the Public Works. You'll enter off of 2nd Avenue South, exit onto 4th Avenue South. We'll just kind of create a runway through there to have the drop-off where our guys will be. So Thursday, it's 8 to 7. Friday, we will go from 8 to 5. And then Saturday morning will be 8 to 1 p.m. Just a few reminders on some of the guidelines. It is for residents only, so we will ask for an ID or a utility bill as you enter as a proof of residency. And then it is just for residents, so no businesses or no commercial use as well. It's similar to what we did on the curbside as well back when we did that. Prohibited items, obviously, still similar to the curbside, no cardboard, propane tanks, gas tanks, concrete, tires. If there's paints and chemicals, stuff like that, we can't take that, but you can take that to the landfill. They have an option for that, which I think is a free drop-off for just residents. So same thing with fluorescent light bulbs. We will accept TVs and appliances at the drop-off. You get 2 free appliances, 2 free TVs, as well as included in that is some of the e-waste, so printers, computer monitors, et cetera. So we did work with a recycling e-waste company this year, so we'll have their trailer on site that we can load as we go. Should have some savings hopefully for the city rather than going through the landfill. And if you want to go over those 2 items, you can purchase a sticker to bring excess items. So as far as that, I think there's not too much more information really there, unless you have any questions on that. A couple other items. If you've noticed, we have a new stop sign installed at South Shore Drive and First Avenue South. The signs are up. We've added some reflectivity tape to the posts for dawn or dusk to dawn. We have a flashing red light there as well now. And we did get in there last week for the one dry day of the week and got the crosswalks painted and stop bars. So hopefully that kind of helps. I think the complaints or the notifications have died down a little bit now on week 3. So hopefully people are getting used to it. And we'll see how that goes. So the other item was, if you've noticed, we started last week as well putting up the new candy cane lights around Central Garden. So if you had noticed, those were a budgeted item for last fiscal year. They had become pretty dilapidated. They were outdated. We couldn't get parts for them, so we have started installing those new lights as well. So hopefully we'll get those finished up in the next week or 2. Other than that, just getting through our spring cleanings still, and the last couple storms kind of set us back. Now we start sweeping again, so it is what it is. But any questions on public works stuff?
Questions?
Jeremy, one quick question. I've seen a few couches coming out to the curb.
Yep.
Are you still picking those up, furniture?
If they called in for a curbside and paid for the curbside, I guess, but
You'll still
most
come
of
get
I think-
those.
I don't know if we really sold those for appliance. I think it was just appliances and TVs.
Appliances.
So if they're still out there, we'll work with Paul and the ordinance after the event and work on getting those properties, if they're still set up after a week, after this weekend, so and get them picked up. Well, we will pick them up, but get them cleaned up anyways, so.
As we said last fall, this was designed, developed, and worked by the members of the Public Works. It went off very, very well then, and we trust that will this spring.
Yeah, just visually, I think it looks a lot better. You know, driving around the past week and a half, you don't see the big piles of garbage out on the curb for a couple weeks in advance. So I definitely think it makes a better image for the community as well. So yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks.
Appreciate it. City engineer request, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Hope everybody's having a good week. Just a couple things here. We are starting to get into construction season, so going to be a lot of excitement, a little bit of stress. We'll embrace it all as we go through this season. So just a touch here on the Highland Drive project. So Jason and I are currently going back and forth through plans, trying to get those finalized. Tomorrow, sanitary district is going to be out on site. They're going to start televising some sanitary lines to check for all the service locations. Jeremy's going to have a couple guys out there from our department that are going to be jetting the lines in front of them to make sure everything's clean. So we're going to get a good view of all of that. And if anything does need fixed, we're having some lining projects that are coming through this season that we can go and get a head jump on that, so we can get some of that stuff done as well during that project. We're hoping to have a early June bid date on this project, so there should be a lot of competition. We should get some really good numbers on that project is what we're hoping. And just for reference again, utilities are going to be performed this year, so this fiscal year, so they need to be done by fall. And then next spring, we'll go in and we'll start the actual roadway paving portion of that project. So it'll be a good one to get done over there. Now, just to touch a second on Emerald Cove Townhomes. So right now, there's 3 foundations that have been completed out there. So that's good to see. There's plumbing currently being installed. I know Jeremy's checked some service line locations out there as well. And there's a total of 16 that are gonna be built out there. So there'll be 32 total twin homes, but there's 16 foundations that have to go, so they have 13 left. So there'll be a lot of construction going on in that neighborhood for quite a while this year. So that'll be good to see that going up. And then we have a lot of other construction projects that are gonna be kicking off here soon. Obviously, Surf District's a big one that we gotta get finished up this year, so that'll be great to see that come to completion. And a lot of additional ones that are gonna get started, but we'll have a long list here, so I'll save for a later date. You guys have any questions for me?
South Shore Estates? Looks like a few are sold, maybe?
Yeah, there's a few of those units that are getting sold out there, and then as far as I know, Brian Ridge has come forward and wants to start building a few on the single-family residential lots out there as well. He's brought 4 different ones with some different home layouts that he wants to start on out there, so we'll see how that progresses.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Matt, appreciate it. Under Mayor's report, Stace? CEO Clear Lake Chamber.
I only have 5 pages worth of stuff to go through, so I'm just kidding. Driving in today, I saw that the light poles are going up on Buddy Holly Place. Those look really nice. We've been anxiously waiting for those to get installed, so that looks good. We did kind of breeze through it, but in the consent agenda, you approved a retail incubator agreement with Lily Mays. It's very exciting. They have a great business that they run out of Marshalltown, so we're really excited to have them in Clear Lake. Next door to them, that property has also been rented, so we'll have another full main avenue this summer full of retailers, restaurants, and businesses, so that's exciting for the community. Quick shout out to Beth Ann, and Brian is here too, so I'll shout out to him too. We had our Lake Leadership City and County History Day, and our students raved about the time in the library with Beth Ann and Cindy Richardson. Obviously, they just give a great perspective on how we got to where we are today, and it was so much fun. So Beth Ann, it's so good to see you back and doing your thing. We really appreciate it. On Saturday, we had a beautiful day for our 5K, 10K, our Earth Day race. In the past, we've had, 4 feet of snow and different things. So it was nice to get a good day. And looking ahead to Saturday, it looks like they might actually get to have Outdoor Fest outdoors. So we've had it indoors the last 2 years at the Wellness Center, but weather looks good for actually having our Earth Day festivities outside next Saturday. Obviously, throughout the week, people will be cleaning up Clear Lake as a part of the Trash Bash, and then the Green Expo will be Thursday night at the Surf. And as we fast forward, we're just about 6 weeks away from Tri-Clear Lake. We've been named the state championship race again this year, so that's exciting for our community. And the other exciting thing that's happening is we're getting ready to start our building project. So all systems are a go. We'll start getting the building interior cleaned out here pretty soon, and got some grants that we've submitted that we're waiting to hear results on those from, but we're wrapping up our fundraising and getting ready to break ground. So stay tuned for I don't know, it won't be a groundbreaking, it'll be like a sledgehammer event or something coming soon. So one last thing, Jacob mentioned the hotel motel tax and being very conservative in that estimate. Libby's been chatting with other tourism partners across the state, and they have all seen the same dip, and so now they are investigating how the change from quarterly distributions to monthly distributions and those calculations and what's going on. So there is further investigation going, but I do agree with the conservative nature and how we prepare our budgets. It's better to sandbag, in my opinion. So hopefully we'll get positive news and there'll be more money rolling in.
Let's hope for that.
Yeah, any questions?
You have a young lady graduating.
Oh my gosh, the next 6 weeks. Addie's graduating, Courtney's getting married. Yeah, it'll be wild.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Mr. Schreck, Chad. Economic Development, North Iowa Corridor.
Great, thanks, Mayor, Council, appreciate it. Just a few quick updates. Bennett, I think, mentioned the housing conference coming up Thursday over at Music Man Square. That's 9 to 4. Looks like we'll have over 150 people attending that, so excited to see the good turnout. Debbie Durham will be keynoting starting at that 9 o'clock session. And also as part of that, piggybacking the Thriving Communities, we'll have Jim Thompson, who's been one of Debbie's top lieutenants down at IEDA for a long time now. I've known him for a good number of years. He's actually one of the guys that told us, hey, you better go for that Thriving Communities thing. The state really would like to see Clear Lake participate in that. So I know he's going to be in town Friday. While we got him up here, we're going to show him around Clear Lake and hopefully get some good insight into that application process, make sure we put our best foot forward. He's a great guy to work with, and appreciate him taking the time to do that with us. And that, as Jacob said, that Panther Builders case is a perfect example of how helpful this could be, because Thriving Communities gives, for the workforce tax credit program, gives you 5 points, which is essentially a 5% boost, which is huge in that program. We got $35 million available every year as a state for that. Last year, over $70 million worth of projects applied, so I think 60 out of 120 or so got funded. So just having a 5% boost right off the top is a big deal for us as a community if we can get that. So really appreciate you guys moving forward with that. I think that'll help a lot with their efforts. And I think our goal should be to max out as much workforce tax credit money as we can next year. Every year, no matter what, but especially if we get the Thriving Communities, I think that'll be a really good boost for us. And just building, again, that pipeline we've been discussing and growing our housing pipeline here in Clear Lake. To that end, we had a great tour of the Jade Apartments last week. I know the mayor, Jacob, Paul, and Stacy, and a few others made it to that trip last week. But top floor is pretty much done. It looks phenomenal. I mean, that is going to be just some really high-end, high-quality apartments for Clear Lake, and I'm excited to see that going. They're very optimistic to hit their July 1st target for opening, if not sooner, but they never want to say that out loud. But hopefully at least July 1st. I think they almost up to 20 leases already. So really, again, just great example of demand that we're seeing to be a couple months out, and they're already almost 20% of the way there. So they're pretty excited to have that going as well as it has. Also related to housing, we last year, if you remember, we had submitted a community project funding request through Ashley Hinson's office for $2.5 million in conjunction with the county, and each of the cities provided letters of support, and it didn't go through. No community project funding went through this past year, if you can believe it, with some of the things going on with the budget and federal programs and all of that. But she did want to move that forward this year for us and try to go for that again. So we are just doing some updates to that project to submit again, actually by Wednesday here. So we'll be getting that back in. Actually bumped our request to $3 million just for interest and everything else. We had to tack that on there and make sure that we can push as much workforce housing as we can across the county. Our annual meeting, I think I've mentioned, but is coming up here at the SURF, April 18th, 11:30 to 1 o'clock. Our keynote speaker is going to be Jason Henderson, who is the Vice President for Extension and Outreach and a professor in the Department of Economics at Iowa State. He is a nationally recognized expert in agricultural and rural issues and economics. And he is going to be, we had a great meeting with him last week. He's a really engaging guy. He's going to try to hit things for us at the high level as far as national, international politics and how that's affecting the economy, and then drill down into North Iowa and what it means for us. So really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be very informative for people. Going to be working with Brian. Hope you took off on me, but going to be doing some surf MEC tours before and after the event as well to make sure people get to see that. Obviously won't be all the way done yet, but it'll be really close, and it'll be really neat to get people in there and get a sneak peek at what's happening there. So excited for all the things coming up. Any questions for me?
Council?
Chet, I may be wrong, but I think you just said April 18th?
Yeah.
For the annual meeting?
June 18th,
June
thanks.
18th. I had to look back as I'm thinking, we passed that.
Yeah, man.
Going backwards.
Yeah, good catch, thank you. And those, I think save the dates have already gone out, but we'll actually be sending out the registration link and all that this week, so.
Thanks, Chad.
Bet, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Under our search for the city administrator position, we're getting close to coming to that time where we will announce that position, but we still have a week or two to go here at least. And for those who might be of interest, I believe the on May 2nd. We have where the candidates will be available to the public, and that will be all out in the public, so you'll be able to know what, where, when, and how. And then those three candidates, I believe, and Jennifer has been a rock here, Jennifer Larson, our city clerk, and you know, great gratitude to her. She's kept certainly me in line and others as well, but doing a fine job. And the three finalists will be announced tomorrow, is that right? And so you'll be able to find those in the available to the public tomorrow. So looking forward, and not easy, but we will get the best to be able to fill that position for this particular city and the folks who live here. Earth Week is this week, correct, Mrs. CEO, Mrs. CEO? And what is going to be down at the Surf from 4 to 7, is that Thursday? And that's always a great evening down there, just packed with people, all related to Earth Week, which got its start back in the 60s, right, Beth Ann? I remember we had junior high kids having a homeroom contest. How much junk could each room collect and weigh it?
Yeah.
We had engine heads and everything else coming in. But it's come along, thank goodness, a long ways. You know, I want to thank, and two of them are still here, Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Stevenson, and the trip that Matt and Creighton and I were on out to Boston. Was that last week? Time's gone so fast.
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. It's been kind of a blur, but what a fantastic trip to see what the Trivium people in Boston, and they're the best by far. That's really how they got the job to begin with, and they are putting together what will be in the immersive room of the Music Experience Center. And what we have seen, the bits and pieces, it will all come together eventually. Probably by the end of July, it'll all be there, if not sooner. But it was wonderful. We spent 2 days there, and the old man had his legs right down to about that high at the end here. But we froze at an event that we went to, and thank goodness for Mr. Nicholas for getting this dude out of there and into an Uber car and back where it was warmer, that's just for sure. But that is going to be fabulous. We saw how they put it together, what they need to put it together, the art that goes into that, the engineering that goes into that, the technology that goes into that. It blows my mind. You know, I just unbelievable. Even if I did walk through one of the sets at one time. Page 2. But yeah, when that all comes together, this town will love it. This town will love it because it's a part of us. It is us. It's not something that's come in from the outside. It'll reflect this town. It'll reflect this surf ballroom, and that is this town. And the area that goes with it. I always say, Paul always comes up with it too, that, you know, one of the two things that have been most important to this outsider that came here 59 years ago is that lake and that surf ballroom, and I still think that way. Kind of without those two, they complement each other. This would be a different town, and that's why we're sitting up here, because we love this town too, and it will be fantastic. So,
May I dovetail off of that, Mr. Mayor?
please do.
Just to let Paul and Jeff know, I had a chance to visit with Beth out in Boston. She got a hold of me with lots of questions. And I sent her a long document with all kinds of assets that she could use on the old surf. Okay, and who did the murals and everything. So she's got all that in hand now to help you guys get that all put together.
Thank
You're welcome, my pleasure.
you. That's our history, you know, that's our history here. Mr. Widman, anything else?
Just wanted to go real quick over, we got the Destination Iowa grant for that. I think I had informed you guys, for the Destination Iowa grant, we had got reimbursement number 1 and number 2. We received those funds in our bank account about a month ago. I do have reimbursement number 3 submitted, and they're processing through that. I know the first one took a really long time. They've said this one will be quicker, so we'll see how long it takes. But so far, we've received just over $2 million, and reimbursement request number 3 was about $1.3 million. So getting towards the end of the project, nice to see some funds coming in on that side of it. And then along with that, we had received the CAT grant to help out with the immersive portion. And we had submitted reimbursement number 1, and they did notify us this last week that that was accepted. And so we should be receiving those funds here in our bank account in the next couple weeks. So.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Whitman? Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, Paul, Mr. Kavars, and Lori for being here tonight. We appreciate that.